I don't know if this applies to you, but everybody has been asking me recently, is 2026 the time to move to Denver, Colorado? And my question back to them is, well, it really depends on what's most important to you. So why are you asking? Well, in this video today, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys some must-see content, some info that is really important to help make that decision on whether or not Denver is the place to be in 2026. So I'm excited to share all of that with you guys on a brand new episode of Living in Denver. Let's go. All right, so as I said, today's gonna be all about this question I keep getting, is Denver the place to move to in 2026? Well, before we get started, all that info down below, just a quick intro. My name is Adam. I'm a licensed realtor here in Denver, Colorado, 40+ year Colorado and Denver native. I love making videos just like this one you're about to watch, and hopefully I can provide you guys with a little bit of value to help make that decision easier to do. And this one today, again, is whether or not 2026 is Denver the right place to move to. So first, I think I want to always start off with is understanding the reason for why you're even considering moving out here to Denver. For example, are we talking about the housing market or maybe your personal timing? Is it career, family, maybe a lifestyle change? Because here's the thing, real estate doesn't exist in a vacuum. Things like rates, inventory, and opportunity, these things all change, but your goals, they have to line up with reality. So in this video, I'm really going to break down what's happening in Denver right now, what's shifting with rates, why inventory matters now more than ever, and why, despite all of the noise, why Denver's long-term story still remains incredibly strong. So let's dive right into it on a brand new episode of Living in Denver. And I want to start right off the bat with the first of these 3 points, and that's just really going to be understanding the interest rate outlook and understanding that stability is the new opportunity. The biggest question I get is always about interest rates. And while that is important, everybody's waiting around for the perfect, let's just call it, rate drop. And I hate to break it to you, but in 2026, it's likely going to be the year of stability, not these extremes. 2021, we saw interest rates below 3%. This past 6 months, we saw rates as high as 7.5%. Huge swing back and forth, and there's so much news about this, which is why it's always one of the top questions I get. But again, 2026, I see this next year, this next 12 months, as really being a year of stability, not extremes. So a lot of the economists and experts that I follow, they're predicting that by the end of 2026, we'll probably see our rates being somewhere in the mid to upper 5s, maybe the low 6% range. So that's not this record low that we saw from 5 years ago, and it's also not the really high numbers we've seen just more recently, but it's gonna be back in a more normal, stable level. And what I love about this is when rates stabilize, buyers, they can finally start planning again. Predictability, that's what brings confidence, not just for buyers, but also for sellers. We've already started to see lenders rolling out new creative programs, and a lot of the new construction home builders, they're also offering some of these buydowns, these rate locks, and sometimes even closing incentives just to keep their inventory moving. These are all signs that things are starting to stabilize, which I love to see. So if you're wondering if now is the best time to buy, well, there's more to it than just yes or no. If you've been waiting for a calm, predictable market, then yes, this could be a great time to buy. But if you're waiting for 3% rates again, unfortunately, you're gonna be waiting for a really long time, in my opinion. I don't like this saying, but a lot of people talk about marry the house, date the rate. And what that means is just finding a great home that you're going to be very happy with for a long period of time and marrying the home, but then maybe getting it at a little bit higher interest rate initially. And you can date the rate, meaning that maybe in a couple years from now, if the rates have significantly gone down, you can refinance at that point and lock in a lower rate. So, there always are options out there like this. So I think what's most important is just getting in the game. There's lots of different ways to do the math behind it, but if you're paying a certain amount in monthly rent versus putting that towards building up equity in your home by buying a home, it really doesn't take long to kind of do some analyzing and realize that most times you're still better off buying, even if it is at a higher interest rate. But I always want to preface that with saying that the most important thing is buying when it makes the most sense for you and you're confident and comfortable with whatever that monthly amount is that you're going to need to start being able to budget for. So if that's the biggest thing, is whether it be 2026 or 2030, it's always going to come down to when it makes the most sense for you. Now, another thing that also is really, really important to understand is that inventory levels are finally starting to become a more balanced market. You may have heard a lot of news recently about how it's been a very strong buyer's market recently, which is actually the first time this has happened in Denver in over a decade. What this means is that there is a lot more leverage that buyers have over sellers. There's a lot of homes for sale right now, but there really aren't that many qualified active buyers. So the ones that are out there, the buyers that are out there and are seriously actively looking, these are the ones that have the most leverage. Since you have more inventory to choose from, you can really be a bit more picky. You can hopefully negotiate a bit more on the sales price of the home, or maybe getting some of the closing costs to be paid for by the seller. There's just a lot more leverage that buyers have right now in Denver, and that's going to continue, I think, at least going into 2026. So a long-winded way of just saying that this balance is super important and is actually really favorable for almost everybody involved, both buyers and sellers. These buyers, they're continuing to have more choices, but sellers, they are also now having to compete on value, not just availability. So as a buyer, you can start to negotiate inspection items again, maybe ask for the seller credits at closing like I had just mentioned. You just have a little bit more leverage, and that's something that we have not seen in several years, so it's a really good time to be a buyer. But coming at it from a different angle, from a seller's perspective, we're not seeing this crash that a lot of people were expecting, and it's really more of a correction in my opinion. Prices, they have flattened out a bit, but they haven't fallen off a cliff, and really that's that stability that I'm talking about from both sides. I saw a statistic recently that said only about 25% of homes had sold for above asking price. So almost every home in Denver right now that's been selling has been selling at a below asking price, meaning that there's been leverage by the buyers to get the price reduced, as well as getting some of these other concessions and seller credits. So it's just exciting. It's exciting to see Denver kind of turning around a little bit again and just more activity as we go into 2026. It's going to be a good year, and I'm really, really confident and optimistic about that, and hope you guys are too. And then one last point I want to make that it might seem a little bit generic, but it's really important now more than ever. And that's just talking through in Denver how you really have to be focused on long-term growth when buying real estate out here, not just looking for that quick instant gain, that fix and flip type mentality. Denver is really built on these strong fundamentals, and that's not going to change anytime soon. We're never going to have the mountains suddenly go away that exist out west of us. All the ski areas, all the mountain activities, all of the outdoor and healthy active lifestyle that Denver provides its residents, that's not just going to disappear tomorrow. So I think if anything, that's only going to be more and more popular as years go on and more people work remotely and more people prioritize health. Cities like Denver are only going to flourish even more when that happens. And I think this is just a great long-term outlook for why Denver is a very smart buy if you are considering buying here and staying here for at least 7 to 10 years, if not longer. At the end of the day, this is why big picture really matters. Even as the market cooled in Denver a few years back, Denver really never lost nearly as much as other parts around the country. Our price points, they never really saw a dramatic reduction like others in areas like, for example, Phoenix. So Denver really did hold on to its stability. It's one of the strongest job markets in the entire Mountain West, especially in healthcare, aerospace, energy, and a lot of technology, especially up near Boulder and also down south in areas close to where I live now in Littleton, where we have Lockheed Martin and some other really big tech-related companies. Outside of just that job market, there's also just something to be said about the quality of life here. There's this saying that Colorado and Denver have over 300 days of sunshine a year. And yes, that is true, but I think even more valuable for why people choose to live here is other things, just the fact that you're so close to the mountains. You have this great outdoor active lifestyle at your fingertips. And you have a culture here now in Denver that really blends this big city opportunity with kind of still the sense of small town values and just kindness and friendliness. It really is this balance between the two that I love, and I think it's one of the best reasons for living here in Denver. Yes, some people did leave during that cost of living surge, but Denver's population didn't actually decline that much. It really just leveled out. So that's actually healthy growth, and that's sustainable instead of explosive. That balance is what investors and new residents both really love, and it's also why companies keep moving here. It's why that long-term appreciation still holds so strong and steady here, because Denver is not a fad, it's truly a foundation. And that is just such an important thing to realize when choosing where you want to live around the country, knowing that it's not just buying into a place that exists today, but where is it going to be in 5 years? Where is it going to be in 10 or 15 or 20 years? And in Denver, I just think it's such a stable investment because with all of the great things that we have that are irreplaceable, the mountains to the west and the availability for different hobbies like skiing and camping and mountain biking and just so many things you can do here that you can't do in a lot of other parts of the country. Those are things that are irreplaceable and are going to continue to make Denver a top spot, a very popular place to live. And because of all that, high demand, and that's going to help with property values and make real estate an even smarter investment if you're considering coming out here to the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. Hope this video helped you guys today. I know I kind of jumped around a bit, but I really just wanted to hit on a few points that I'm seeing a lot right now. A lot of people like yourselves that are reaching out with questions and just what to really expect as we go into 2026 and why I still truly believe it's going to be a great year to buy and sell real estate, but more importantly, a great time to consider relocating out here and having this be your new home. So if you guys have any questions after going through today's video, as always, all my info down below. Feel free to reach out. I also have a brand new locals guide to Denver, over 20 of my personal favorite neighborhoods all around town. I'd love to give you a free copy. The link is down below in the show notes. And with all that being said, hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And I can't wait to see you on a brand new episode of Living in Denver next time. I'll see you then.